Hey guys, I want to make a video about a little bit about some different things. We'll talk about Egypt and DNA and 6-point star, crystalline structures, and I would make it fun and not boring, try to keep it moving and give everybody some knowledge. Um, I know a lot of people have been misled concerning things in the Bible, and like I said, I love you guys no matter what you believe. And the point is to educate, because everyone perishes because of lack of knowledge. I mean, even if you got sick and you died, or you got old and you died, you you die because you didn't have that knowledge to be able to fix yourself. It's like I'm a Christian, but see, I'm aware of everything that goes on around me, and I look and I educate myself. And like what Christ was saying, the tares, it said they hide amongst the wheat, and these were that intermixture, you guys. That's what he's talking about. And when you learn about wheat, it gets down to the roots. And you guys, each tribe had its own Adam and had its own Eve, but we are all the living children of light, one God. We're different flowers, the same family. Day 6 said God created man, and it was good. It was very good. On day 8, he created the other race that Jesus was to be born. You got Nimrod about the time of the Tower of Babel. You got, when you read about how he built great cities and stuff, you guys, but in your DNA is a 6-point star, in your DNA is a cross, and if you guys have never seen it, go and learn about that stuff. But that's what the intermixture was preached against, was the giants. There's like your DNA. It's like a box. If you'd fold that up on them lines, it'd make a cube. And when you look at it proves ethnic people are the oldest culture on the planet. And you can see where we all came together at. And then you can see, if you guys dig and you look deep enough, don't just look real quick, and you got to go and dig and look. Everything will tell you. But we each have distinct DNA markers. We all have a Y chromosome, but it's not the same one. We all have that mark that we came from a woman, proving the fact that all birth of every tribe came from one woman, is what it's talking about. Every color under the rainbow. And we got sacred geometry. You guys, there was a lot that wasn't talked about, like in the garden, that word apple, and some were taught it's not even in the Bible. And the event did happen in the fig grove, but it was a knowledge of good and evil, you guys. And what the knowledge of good and evil is it's you, it's Satan, and it was Adam and Eve. They already had communication with God. Now they knew Satan, which was running around the earth, escaped. That's why the angel would say when they were talking, now unless he puts forth his hand and takes from the tree of life, he had to figure out Christ. In his fleshly path, he had a garden of luxury. That was the first sin, was to be enlightened. See, guys, here we only use, even if we were all smart, we only use 10%, less than 10% of our brain if we were the smartest that there is. The angels are brilliant, you guys. Our knowledge is restricted here because of our dimension. It restricts your mind. God's all-dimensional, all-knowing. A to Z wisdom. And see, this was a tree of life also. See, this is your backbone. And that's your central nervous system, and this is why you think bad stuff. You could try to be as good as you want, and sometimes you're going to have thoughts, and you're saying, why did I even think that? It's your mind. And you can say, oh, well, I thought that, and then you can push that thought off. And we're going to go through these things, see, and you carry out your actions through here. But when you see these things in every religion, they did certain stuff to explain, just like when you see the Indians and the Serpent Mounds and stuff that are all over and in Ohio. They did that, and then when you look how it's laid out, one's laid out like a uterus, and then there's a birth canal, and you can see where it's pointing, and you learn about structures of the earth and the ley lines that they were following, and everything ties in, you guys. Everything, everywhere. That's what the most awesome thing is, if you'll just look and take into consideration, like in astrological science and stuff. And just like you can look at it, and the angels, and then they were known like each one had a star or whatever. When the Earth and the planets are at a certain place, it affects the universe. It affects things. So that's why each one had it. And they would pray, and like Egypt would eat gold and different things, and it was to be able to feel and magnify that spirit also, because the sun could charge it, and they could do different things. When Moses went up the mountain, he was gone 40 days. And while he was up there, the children of Israel, they was about to kill Aaron, his brother, the priest, and he said, make us a golden calf like we did in Israel. So he said, give me your earrings and all that stuff. So he makes this golden calf. God talks about making him eat it. And if that's what you want to do, see, every religion, everything is in the Bible. Even if you guys don't believe it, you should read it or find someone that understands and will explain, and look up the words and go to the manuscripts and the copies of what we do have to look at, and that will tell you these things. Just like this crystal lattice is around the Earth's not going to be destroyed. There's different definitions of the word Earth. One's terra firma, and one's like an eon of time. And this eon of time will pass, and we'll go into the next dimension when Christ returns. This was brought down. This is what caused the continents to start drifting. This is what caused the catabole, when we hear about Great North or True North got knocked off. That was the first flood, how you got some of the highest parts at the lowest parts of Earth, and vice versa. That was when the rebellion came about, and seeing God's throne was taken away. And I believe that had something to do, just like Egypt flourished while the ark was there, like a conductor. And it stabilizes. And when you guys learn about how you could levitate large blocks of stones by taking in the negatives in there and positives on frequency, and what happens if you flip the negatives and the positives, it makes it the opposite of what gravity, anti-gravity. So you can levitate this by frequency. That's another way that the knowledge that they utilized there in Egypt. There's some guys that built castles and stuff, if you guys look, and blocks and stone, and look at Tesla and everything. With the Ark of the Covenant, if you remember, when people touched it, they died also. So in that way, it defied gravity and it obeyed it at the same time. So it's a unique, no matter what. And in that first Earth age, when we were on angelic bodies, it was perfect. And when things started going bad, God gave warning. And to my understanding, that's when that throne, the Ark of the Covenant, was took, in a sense. And that's what started the earth to go, just like God said He's coming back to shake the earth once again. With this crystal lattice, where you read about the oxygen and the dinosaurs and the free radicals, and there's a bunch of different things. I'll have to do another study on that. Just like in Egypt here, and they kept their organs and stuff, and just go into a little bit. There's a whole lot of different reasons why they did things, but the giants had problems with them, and they did have to do surgeries, and we got brain surgeries, we got all these different surgeries, and all these brilliant things happening, and transplants of every kind. And see, they also knew that the fallen angels were coming back. They witnessed them doing great medical things and transplanting, and I'm sure they worked with animals and all different kind of stuff like you guys hear about. But one thing was for sure, I'm sure they believed that they could put them back together. And there's all these religions and different ways to look at things. You guys don't just throw it out. I'll be back.